All right, so who is enjoying DevBcn? Yeah. You know, someone, I'm not sure the guy here is here, right? But someone came outside and said, in the website, it says that the event today ends at 11 o'clock. And so I thought, well, they gave me more time for my talk, right? So if you guys want to, I can stay here until 11, no problem, right? You know, I'm not sure if those guys want. He kicked me out yesterday. We have to close the door, right?
Can do it again. So.
You can do it again, right? Yes. Okay. So when they invite me here, I proposed a title that, they did not accept. And so I'm using the title that they said I had to use, right? 7 ways you can build an amazing developer career in the AI era. But honestly, the question that we are all asking ourselves, the question that I got on my email the other day is that you and I are still relevant, aren't we? Right? That's the discussion everyone's having, right? So that's the discussion I heard a lot of here. Yes, he's like, yes, right? Everyone's asking this. You know, how are we going to do this? How are we going to compete this, right? And I found interesting that, you guys know this, there's a place here in Barcelona. I'm not sure if it's very famous or not, that people know or not. It's called the La Sagrada Familia, right? So you guys know that, right? Okay, never heard of it, right? So yeah, I don't know. I came here. I wanted to visit La Sagrada Familia because they said it's going to be finished. There's still a crane there, right? So, but they're still working on it. And the Pope was here last week, and I said, the guy keeps following me, right? Everywhere I go, right? Okay. Anyway, so I went there. I went to La Sagrada Familia, and I took this nice picture. And it's a beautiful place, right? It's an amazing place. But one thing that maybe we don't notice too much, it's all these people here in the bottom, right? So I'm going to kind of expand them a little bit. So outside of the church, there's all these guys there, everyone taking picture. And I was there with the Java champion, Rafael Del Nero, is right here, right? So I was there, and we were also taking pictures. And while we're there, we were recording a video. When we publish the video, you guys are going to hear, but while we're recording the video, there's this guy with saying photo, 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 right? You know, and Polaroids. I'm not sure if you saw those guys there. There's photographers taking pictures, right? And we talked to this guy who was an Argentinian. We also talked to a Brazilian doing the same thing, taking photos there. And the thing that I was asking them, the thing that was kind of baffling to me was, who is buying photos, right? Everyone walks around with a cell phone that has a better camera than the Polaroid that you're taking pictures with, right? And and you can take unlimited free photos. Why are you going to pay those guys? And we're talking to this Argentinian, talking to the Brazilians, and they're making 500 euros a day. Whoa. Whoa. Right? Doing something that was totally irrelevant 20 years ago. Right? And so the thing that we have to understand is that the more available things are, the more we want of it. Right? We're here worried about, if AI is going to replace us, and those guys are taking photos with Polaroid pictures, right? And they don't care, right? And the interesting thing is that I asked the guy, so why do you think people do that? And, because and he was like, just kind of walking around, and I asked him, I had to ask several times because he would come to us. And I thought the guy was mad at me. Let me tell this, right? I thought, because I asked him, do anyone do this? And he was like so insistent. And he came back several times to tell me why. And at one point, I said to him, I think that you're doing this because you're a good salesperson, right? A good salesman. And he's like, no, it's not because of that. And he said, it's because people love to buy, right? And I found it interesting because that actually showed me that he was a good salesman. Because he understands that people want something, and they want a picture in front of La Sagrada Familia, printed. Makes no sense, but they want that, right? And And the important thing is that the value was never in the camera. The only reason that guy sells 500 a day is because he's offering. He is creating the value. Right? Because if he was not there, if he was not offering, there would be no value. Even if you're walking with the camera with you. So that got me thinking. Because when you talk about AI, there are some people, let's see if this works, right? There are some people that are very excited about this, right? So I got several people sent me emails. If you're on my list, if you receive my emails, you know that. So several people sent me emails. And so I put some of the things that people said to me in the last few weeks about AI, right? So, this 20 years software developer, 20 years of career, okay? It's not that easy at his age, right? 20 plus years of career. I'm actually happy about AI. It freed me from doing the stuff I don't want to do, right? Does that make sense? People, do you feel like this, right? This other guy here says, I'm not sure if guys or girls, right? But, analysis that used to take 45 minutes, now take 5. It's a good thing, right? You feel like this too, right? It's good. Yes, you feel like this, right? I already changed it forever, right? The way we do trivial coding tasks, right? It's good, right? We don't want to do trivial coding tasks, right? We want to do the interesting things, right? So are you seeing this in your work too? The AI helps you out, right? Yeah? Okay, good. I've seen amazing things I can use and apply in real production systems, right? It's good, right? There's good things. People are excited about this, right? And some people got even more excited, right? There's so much going on. I'm underutilizing. Do you think you're underutilizing AI right now? Yeah, right? Okay, right? And so I love it. This community leader, I was on JCon a couple of months ago, and this community leader was talking about, I love it. It's the most fun I ever had in my life as an engineer, right? I spent 3 years as a manager, and I'm back being an engineer, and I'm enjoying every second. Does that resonate? Some people are really enjoying so much that this CEO told me, I'm in love with it. I'm barely sleeping anymore. Do you feel that? Do you also feel barely sleeping, right? It's a slot machine, right? One more prompt. Now it's going to work, right? It's awesome, right? So people are loving it. But at the same time, there's a second side of it. People also wrote to me very serious stuff, right? So, it beat my decade of experience in 1 hour. All right, so what do I do next? Right? Can I compete with it? Feeling like this too? Right? Yeah. Worse than, I feel like more and more we're becoming developers of MD files, right? Is that you, right? Everyone here, right? Yeah. What remains of the role of a human software development? That's a big question, right? So is there still space for us? Lots of people talking about human in the loop, right? Because we want to have a space there, right? So what does that mean, right? Deep technology being left behind. I found interesting that we spent so much time trying to discuss with people about quality code and clean code, and now those same developers just kind of doing whatever. I don't even look at the code anymore. Right? What happened with all the idea of a clean code? What happened with all the idea of it's in the interesting things that the other side of it's interesting too. That we've been trying to convince our managers for ages, we got to do testing. Now the AI is there. Oh, AI only works if there's testing, so we got to do testing. Like, what's going on? I think things the whole thing is changing, right? A lot. How do I build durable skills with AI? If I don't need to do anything, right? If I don't need to do anything, all I need to do is press a prompt, right? So how do I do that? Tell me, you tell me, right? Just an addendum here. I should not do this in a keynote, right? If you're a speaker and the photographer comes here, pose for the photographer, right? It's good. Comes a good picture later on. Okay. But how do I do this? How do I do this kind of things, right? I have become a prompt monkey. I rarely get to write codes. I'm reviewing lots of AI codes, and by the end of the day, I'm tired. Right? Yeah? Lots of people raise their hand even without me even asking, right? So yes. So that doesn't sound very good, does it? Right? Now, I feel become dumber by using AI. Right? Yeah. You know, since I can do this in the long term, you're going to end forgetting things, right? So that's, 18 years of career, right? So it's like, yeah, it's affecting us. But it gets even worse, right? Oh, there's another one. It's a good friend of mine. If I have too many choices, I don't choose any of them, right? So you get paralyzed, right? Too many things to do, too many options, right? There's people I have so many products, I'm going to do all of them, and then they don't do any one, right? Now, that's the one that sent me. That's the one I want to be the title of the talk, right? So you and I is to relevance, right? With all those issues that you all raised your hands here, it's not easy, right? Now it gets even worse. This is my most, from all the emails that I got recently, this is the one I thought hit me the most, right? Because that's a good friend of mine, and he said me, so that's a Java champion, open source developer, and he said that they simply canceled the whole program, right? They told me that nobody needs to learn Java that way anymore. It's a long-term customer of his. But it got worse. They canceled his book, right? Because people could simply use AI, they don't need to understand things anymore. But it does get worse. His longest running customer canceled the project, told me that they can now rely on the internal stuff, they don't need my external expertise anymore. That's a Java champion, an open source developer. His project, I can almost guarantee that every one of you use his project. Right? So he told me, AI changed my life by a lot and put me in financial trouble and also in some kind of identity crisis. And that has real impact. For this Java champion, he said, despite all my experience, I've been struggling to find work since May last year. Right? So there are complicated things. And honestly, I could come here and tell you that everything's fine, everything's good. We all know the AI doesn't create these amazing things anyway, right? It's not awesome. It has all kinds of mistakes. There's a reality here because AI makes the easy thing easy. But it also makes the hard thing almost impossible. You have to understand that. Because we all know that we can do 80% of the project, and then the hard part is doing the 20% left, right? Isn't it? So AI can do that, can get 80% of the thing right there, and then once you have to do the 20%, you have no idea what is in the other 80. So it's really, really hard to get those 20% done, right? And I can tell you other things about AI, because you know this. I mean, you've heard many people here in the conference talking about AI, right? One of the most interesting things is that, in the keynote, there was a question about cost, right? So that's what one of my mentees sent me the other day, that his cost, the first line right there, I'm going to expand the first line. He's tracking his real cost. So he pays a $200 subscription, like many of you do pay, and that's his real cost every day, $1,000 a day. This month, last 30 days, $10,000. If that's what you had to pay to run the AI that you're running right now, $10,000 a month, who would pay for it? No one. So suddenly, all of these are different things. So I hear Simerson say, shit, right? It gets complicated. I could say that, right? But honestly, I don't bet against technology. Technology is going to improve. We're going to use open source AI models. We're going to run AI models in our computers. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, AMD announced this new computer, very small, that can run millions of tokens. Right? So those things are going to change. We're going to improve those things. Right? So we're not here to bet against AI. Right? But honestly, we do have to understand the limits of it. Otherwise, we're just going to get stuck on those terrible feelings that we're feeling right now. Because let me tell you one thing. All those feelings that we talk about this, do you feel one of those feelings there? Good things, bad feelings that we talk about, all those developers. Anyone does feel that? Yeah, lots of people, right? So you're normal. Those are the feelings you were going through, right? Now, we have to understand that there's no intelligence in artificial intelligence, right? There's a lot of intelligence from us put to do it, to develop it. But AI itself, it's not intelligent, right? That's why one thing I want you to understand is that there's a big difference on AI. There's what I call AI for you. When you use AI to do something, right? If you're a Java developer, OpenJDK is like the open source implementation of Java, right? So that's everyone's kind of, you're running Java, you're running some version of OpenJDK because everyone builds on top of that. So OpenJDK announced, what was that, like a month ago, maybe? Their policy again on the AI usage. And here's what they said, right? Maybe I should have put it here so you guys can see. But here's what they said. They're not going to accept any contributions done by AI. In documentation, testing, codes, anything. No contribution accepted by AI. That's their interim policy, right? So they might change in the future, but that's it right now. But you can use AI to get yourself ready for the contribution. So you can use AI to understand the code. You can use AI to learn about OpenJDK, to understand what needs to be fixed to things, etc. But once you do, right? So that's a good example of AI for you. You can use AI to learn. You can use AI to improve. You can use AI to understand the codes, but not AI as you. Because once you let AI be you, think for you, plan for you, decide for you, that's when you get in the wrong territory. Because again, there's no intelligence on artificial intelligence. So if you get your intelligence and you stop using your intelligence to let AI think for you, that's when you got in trouble. For example, don't let AI build a relationship. Lots of people are writing articles with just let AI write the article for you. You go on LinkedIn right now. LinkedIn is a terrible place today. It was already not very good before, but today it's everything you see is just in the past everyone wrote like small posts. Now suddenly everyone has like this little article inside every post, right? Why? No one is writing anything anymore, right? So that's what AI asks you. When you let AI be you, represent you, show you, that's the wrong approach. That's when you get in all this trouble that we're looking before, right? That's what we call cognitive surrender. I did not know that expression until a few weeks ago when one of the people on my list sent that to me. Cognitive surrender is this idea that it's AI as you, right? That you surrender your intelligence to AI. And I'll tell you what, guys, this is the worst thing you can do. Because you are intelligent. There is intelligence in you, but there's no intelligence in artificial intelligence. Right? It's a math formula. It's a very complex, very interesting, very sophisticated, amazing math formula. But that's what it is. There's no intelligence on artificial intelligence. So cognitive surrender is the problem. The problem is not AI. AI for you is amazing. AI as you is terrible. So how do we do this? How do we combat not AI? How do we combat cognitive surrender? Right? Because honestly, on the keynote yesterday, Abdel said, from the point of view of AI, deleting the tasks they're not passing is a valid solution. Is that a valid solution? Not for us, right? Not for us. If someone from your team deleted a non-passing task, you would not say, oh, so smart, right? You are so intelligent, right? Where's Francois, our testing expert here? Is Francois here? Oh, that's Francois right there back, right? Right, Francois? You know, that's not a valid solution, right? So Francois deals with this all the time because Francois talks about flaky tests, right? So the test fails one time, succeeds another time. So how do you solve that? Delete the test, right? Again, guys, there's no intelligence in artificial intelligence, right? So how do we deal with cognitive surrender? There's 7 steps, seven things you can do to beat cognitive surrender. The first one is purpose. AI has no purpose. You have. You have dreams. You want to achieve something. You want to solve a problem. You know what you want to do. So if you don't decide what you want to do, you know, I can use ChatGPT to help me plan this trip here. You know, I have many cities. I had lots of issues. I can ask lots of questions about ChatGPT to help me plan this trip. But I'm doing the trip. I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. I have my objectives. So you have to have yours. Do you want to grow in your career? Do you want to be, do you want to have amazing jobs to the future? I don't think AI is taking your job. Well, let me rephrase that. I think you're going to be very, very fine. You're going to be amazing. You're going to do very well. Because the more code there is in the world, the more need there is for all of us. Right? So you're going to do great. But maybe you don't keep your job. It's a different thing. Because we don't know. Companies are going crazy. Right? CEOs are going crazy. There's CEOs now saying that they don't need the team because they can do the software. Right? There is a new delusion. I think that's a delusion. That's what I'm going to call it. There's a new delusion in Silicon Valley right now. There are C-level people, CEOs, CTOs, CIOs, CMOs, marketing, CFO, finance, that they're dropping their position to become independent contributors, to become you. Do you guys know where this is going to get, right? Right? You know, so that's a delusion, right? But so you might not keep your current job because your company might be one of those delusion companies, right? But you're going to do great. Because if you have a purpose, if you have clarity, if you know what you want to get, you can do a lot. And AI can help you to do a lot. Make sense? Purpose. Trust. We have trust in people. We trust each other, right? So he's saying, yes, I'm just going to say hello. Hi, I'm Bruno.
Samsa.
Hi, Samsa. How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Okay, we trust people.
Yeah, that's true.
We meet people in events. We look people eye to eye, right? Now, in your case, I have to look up, right? So you were so much better when I was up here. You know, we trust people. And you can build that trust. You can be the trustworthy people. Right? But for that, you have to be visible. Because I cannot trust someone that I don't know. That's why it's so important for you guys to be here in an event, meeting each other, having conversations, knowing who needs what, knowing what you do. So if you have a clear purpose, if you have a clear message, you know what problems you solve, and you can build trust on that, that's amazing. That's what the guy in the Sagrada Familia, the photographer there, is doing. He's right there, building relationships, building trust with people. Pay me €5, I'm going to take a great picture for you. It's a tiny little trust, but that's what he's building right there. Right? And because he builds trust, because he has a clear purpose, he solves a problem. It was very funny in that situation because I was there with Rafael. And when we left, right, Rafael was telling me, oh, Bruno, do you buy like magnets you put in your refrigerator everywhere you travel? And I said, no, I don't do this kind of thing. He said, yeah, but I do. And then he said, oh, man, I should have taken a picture because I could put it in my refrigerator. So that photographer, he created a problem that did not exist, and Rafael was already thinking about buying it. The thing that we all agree with is useless, right? So when you build trust for a real purpose, for a real problem, they want you and not someone else. AI can't do that. AI cannot build relationships. It can fake, but it cannot build relationships. Right? Not only that, responsibility. You know, there's a slide that I took off. Maybe I should have left. But Canada Airlines decided there's a customer, they use AI, and the AI guide the customer to the wrong thing. And so the customer lost money because the AI on Canada Airlines sites told him to do something, the wrong thing. And so the customer sued the airline. And you know what those guys did? I mean, look, man, I can't be a judge, man. Can you imagine in courts, the lawyers from Canada Airlines, do you know what they said? They said, oh, it was an AI agent. He made his own decisions. He's a different entity. You know? Right? Of course, the judge said what? Get out of here, right? Just pay the guy. Stop with that. It's your responsibility. So that's what you have. You have responsibility. AI does not. Right? I found crazy that AI does all this, AI deleted all the Amazon orders, right, for a whole month. Yeah. Deleted all the orders for a whole month. And they blamed the developers. Like, you use AI because we forced you to use AI. You use AI because we forced you to use now. And so do you know what they did when that happened? They now require approvals before AI does anything. Why? Because someone has to be responsible. So you are still there. You can be responsible, AI cannot. Expertise. You know, your expertise, that's one interesting thing. AI doesn't learn. That's one thing you have to understand. Once a model is trained, it's trained. The one way it improves was when we train another model. That's why we change to other models. But AI does a stupid thing, and it doesn't learn. It's going to do a stupid thing again. But you do. Your expertise is still very valid. Your knowledge is very valid. That's why we cannot surrender our intelligence, because your expertise is very valid still. Take action. You take action. Right? AI can do what you tell it to do, but you're the one to take action. If you don't take action, you're going to be seen, not as someone that I don't trust. Right? Uplift. That's why we're here in these events. I want to see all the volunteers here. I see lots of people red shirt. Those are the volunteers, right? So, so when you get the volunteers, more volunteers in the back? No. It's all here in the front. It's here, some volunteers here. Those people here, actually one of the volunteers, right? She told me before, oh, I'm lazy, right? And I said, but you're a volunteer here. Are you making money to be here? No, I'm making. So how can you be lazy if you're here helping everyone else? That's what we do. We uplift people. We bring people with us. And we can continue to do that. And the people that do that, you will grow. Right? Again, AI doesn't do that. AI doesn't care. It doesn't care if you succeed, if you fail. There is no intelligence in AI intelligence, in artificial intelligence, right? And the last one, autonomy. You are the autonomous process, right? We say an AI agent, like they do something. They don't. You do things, right? And so if you build autonomy, you're still going to be, only you can have autonomy. And you can use autonomy. So the way for you to battle, for you to win cognitive surrender is when you build responsibility, expertise, purpose, uplift people, take action, autonomy, and trust. For people that know me, those that follow me, you can see that this is the top part of the reputation formula. Right? It's a formula. There's a better place to take a picture. I'll show the whole formula in a minute. Right? So, that's the top part of the reputation formula. 7 things you need to do to grow your reputation. But that's a formula, right? That means there's also 3 things you need to stop doing to grow your reputation. And I found very interesting that on this formula, there is an outright, don't lie. What does AI do all the time? It hallucinates. We call hallucinate, right? But if it was a person, right? If it was a person, we'd be saying we're lying, right? So build, so we trust you because you don't lie. Make sense? So that's the reputation formula. If you know, so now it's a good place to take a picture, right? Yes. That's the reputation formula right here, right? Yeah. So everyone taking pictures, so you can post BR Java Man right there, right? Okay. Yes, cool. And my timer has just gone out, but I'll do something here. Oh, actually, I still have 2 minutes on my timer, so it's okay. So I'm gonna do something for you guys. That's very unusual in a keynote. I'm gonna give you a gift, right? So I do have the reputation formula in a sticker format, right? Yeah. And it looks very good in the laptop. You can see right there, right? It looks very good in the laptop. But here's the thing. The reputation formula was done to be perfect fit your cell phone. So you never forget how you can beat cognitive surrender. Because I don't want you to surrender your intelligence to anything. Make sense? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my friend Rafael. Maybe Iskran can help me out here, or so to distribute this to you guys. I think I have enough. So yes, can you guys distribute a little bit here? I think I have enough for everyone. If not, my apologies. That's all the stickers I have. All right. So why they're distributing this? There's an interesting story. One of my very few claims of fame. People call me the Java Man, the BR Java Man. But one of my very few claims of fame is that I opened for Iron Maiden 3 times. Right? Yeah, right. Yeah, I opened for, she's like, yeah, you did not. You did not. So I'm not a musician, right? So I used to run this event called Campus Party. Right, I was the president of the Campus Party Institute in Brazil, and Bruce Dickinson, the vocalist of Iron Maiden, right? He came to Campus Party 4 times actually, and 3 of those times I was the guy on stage right before him, calling the audience and answering career questions, all of that, so he could come and give his talk, right? And so, and when Bruce came to in one of the times that he came, he was talking about the difference between, he's talking about lots of things, but one of the things he talked about was the difference between a rock star musician and a normal musician, right? So I know nothing about rock star musician because I'm not a musician, but there's some guys here playing amazing yesterday, so congratulations, right? Yeah. Okay, so then I was there, so Bruce talked about, the difference between a rock star musician and a normal musician. And one thing that he said is that the difference, it's not the music. The difference between a rock star musician and a normal musician is not the music. both need the music to be musicians. Make sense? Right? And you guys know that because there's a lot of rock star musicians that are not even good musicians. Right? So the difference between the rock star musician and the normal musician is the rest. The things the rock star does that the normal musician doesn't do. Is the contract, is the entrepreneurship, is the show, is the connection with the audience. Right? In case of Iron Maiden, the fact that they had an airplane so they could go everywhere they wanted. Right? So he's saying, so if you want to be a rock star, you got to do the rest. And this applies to us, guys. The difference between a rock star program, a rock star developer, a rock star senior developer, whatever, and a normal one, it's not the code. It's not the technology. You need the technology to be a developer. The difference is the rest. The difference here, the rock stars are building their reputation, are putting themselves in the best projects, are putting themselves in the best situations. And when they put themselves in the best situations, they get to become the rock stars. They get to guide what's going on. They get to decide. They get to be autonomous. And this has nothing to do with AI. You can do that no matter what. Make sense? And every time I tell this story, people say, yeah, bro, that did not happen. But yes, 2 days ago, I by chance found, because those presentations, by contract, we in Campus Party, we could not record his presentation. So it was never on the website. But by chance, I found someone else that was not from our team that recorded, a very bad recording, but they recorded the presentation, and this is me on stage with Bruce Dixon. So it did happen, right? And no, that's not AI generated, right? It's just a very bad recording, right? And I really love the fact that I'm here wearing the open source t-shirt, right? So, so we were discussing with Bruce Dixon open source from that time. Okay, so guys, the value was never in the camera. The value was never in the guitar. The value was never in the code. The value was always in you. Technology gets you in the game, but reputation gets you as far as you want. Thanks so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No questions. Thank you. Thank you. They say I have no time for questions, right? So, because I have no time for questions, I'm going to let you guys ask questions, but not here. Okay? Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you a gift for everyone here, right? I understand this, especially for, let me ask you a quick question here, right? So who here is a junior professional? Okay, a few people are junior professional. Who here is a mid-level professional? All right. Who here is a senior professional? Very, very good. So who here is a beyond senior professional? All right, there's a few beyond senior. Very cool. So to help, there's going to be a help for most of you because that's most for senior people, right? But I created this program called Growing Beyond Senior, right? It's a training that I give to my mentees. It was never sold outside of my mentorship group, but early this year, I had a Grow Beyond Senior talk at J-Focus, right, in Sweden. And so I decided to actually give this to those guys there. I'm going to do the same thing for you. So I'm going to give to you the Grow Beyond Senior training, right? So if you come to this URL right here, right, you're going to get for free my Grow Beyond Senior training. And here's why it's going to be important for each of you if you want to ask a question. Because for you guys here, I'm going to do something special. If you join this program, I'm going to include in this program a live conversation with me about AI, right? So I'm going to do sometime maybe the next month, I'm going to go online. All of you guys are going to be invited because you're registered for the program. And I'm going to do a live conversation with you about AI so you can bring in all your questions, all your current situation, Lots of the people that you saw that were sending me the email is going to be there first to discuss that for you. Okay? So do this right now so you don't lose it, because this is just going to be valid for today. Okay? Tomorrow I'm going to take this page out. Okay, so thanks so much, guys. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Thank you.